Forget everything you think you know about Marvel, but not everything, some of it. I'm going to talk about Doctor Strange. I saw it last night. I think this is somewhat of a snap review? Not really snap. I've had a little bit of time to think about it. You may have seen it, you may not have seen it. However, I will be talking heavy spoilers, including the end. If you are not down with that, you know exactly what to do. I see someone freaking out in the control room because he knows I'm about to ruin the movie for him. You can leave if you want. So this is I think our second step into Marvel's Phase 3 after Captain America Civil War. Yes? Do I see agreeing off camera? No one's paying attention to me. So this is a new era for Marvel, or it's supposed to be a new era for Marvel as we're moving into more of the mystical side of things into this world. They say something very interesting, and this is in the trailer too, by the way, about, well, you know, how the Avengers fight dangers in the physical world. We're here from the more mystical side of things. That is paraphrased. I don't have it written down. And I wish they had laid more into the mystical parts. Don't get me wrong, there are some very trippy parts of this movie, and I liked them a lot, and some of them were upsetting, but I liked being upset by that. I hope you understand how I mean by that. It's extremely psychedelic. I love every time they go into a different dimension or the mirror world, if you will. I wish there had been more of that, because they say that this is more in the mystical side of things, and this is more in the mind, in the spirit, in this completely intangible world. And for that, there was a lot of flesh-on-flesh punching, and I wish it had laid more into what is different about this step, what is different about this hero, what makes this hero special in particular, beyond, you know, Iron Man, beyond Captain America, beyond Thor, Hulk, what have you, more of the, I would say, heavy hitters. Mads Mikkelsen is the villain in this movie. I really wish he had more to do. He did have a couple funny parts with the Mr. Doctor nonsense, and I say nonsense in a very loving way. It was funny. But he didn't really, I mean, this is a problem with some, that has been said before with some other Marvel movies, which is the villain wasn't really that well developed. Someone did mention a little bit of his backstory, but I would say that I wanted more from him. I wanted to see him more. I wanted him to do more. I wanted to feel connected to him and to understand more of his point of view. They did touch on this a little bit, which is they're talking mainly about Dormammu, which is the real big bad, I suppose, and about whether or not power is dark, or if it can change things, or if leaders need to be toppled over. I love that idea of maybe we should question what's going on, or whatever we think the conventional, normal, good point of view is. Maybe that's not necessarily right. Maybe there are people who are suffering from that. And I wish they had gone into that more, but they didn't really. A lot of the times, the henchmen looked more like Sith Lords from the prequels of Star Wars to me than I think they should have. I don't know if that was intentional or if that's just my subjective point of view, but I was thinking that constantly. I will say the high point of this movie is the ending. It is the final battle. It is the subversion, I would say, of the complaints people have had about Marvel movies, which is, oh, we're going to completely decimate this city and everything is going to be destroyed and there's going to be all this collateral damage. It's literally the opposite of that, which did seem pretty cheeky, and I did appreciate itself. I also liked that they did apply Doctor Strange in a special way, in the way that he defeats the final villain. It isn't through, you know, stealing something off his back or, you know, stabbing him or something like that. He literally annoys him into submission, which you could argue that's what he's doing, but he's also kind of creating a personal hell for Dormammu. He says to him, "You cannot win," and he says, "No, but I can lose forever," which I really liked. It does show a growth for the character who had started as a jerk. I think he could have been a bigger jerk, but let's just go off the assumption that he is a jerk who is selfish and arrogant, into someone who is kind of submitting himself to a Promethean task of just getting punished over and over and over and over for ultimately a greater good, for ultimately the betterment of all of mankind, to use that analogy properly. So I did really like that. I think what they should have done was be better than punching. I wanted Doctor Strange to always use his smarts and always use, I want to say science, but maybe not, because this is the mystic world. I wanted him to use what's special about him more every single time in different ways, more so than just hopping around on people and punching. You probably disagree with me. I feel like I'm probably in the minority for not giving this a rave review. I think it's a solid movie. I think it's a good movie. I don't think it's better than Guardians. I don't think it's better than Deadpool. I did talk about Marvel addressing complaints and criticisms in the past with their huge array of movies. Though there is one thing that I don't think they really addressed properly, which is that this movie feels very formulaic to me. The way that Tony Stark rises up is very close to the way Stephen Strange rises up. To me, it feels like it was a formula created by a committee. It's a good formula. It's a formula that works, but I wanted something, I think, beyond when I looked at Doctor Strange, who is a very different character and probably the leader of Phase 3. So we have also criticisms, and I can't not address this at all, about the casting, particularly of Tilda Swinton as the Ancient One. So I can't not talk about the casting issues, which have been kind of the elephant in the room this entire time that we've been working up to it in production. I know a lot of you are going to assume I hated this movie because of Tilda Swinton. No, I didn't hate this movie because of Tilda Swinton. I think this could have been handled better, though Tilda Swinton is an excellent actress, and of course it's not her fault if someone makes a choice that is erasing and harmful to a large group of people. Of course, you know, in the original source material, the Ancient One is depicted as a Tibetan man, and she has been recast as, well, she's written as Celtic, a Celtic woman of unknown age. To me, it doesn't feel so much like they were doing this because Tilda Swinton is the bigger star, however that is part of it. I think the reason they cast it this way because they wanted to appeal to China, and having a Tibetan person there in the main center, strong role would have upset China politically, and they need this to be a big hit over there because this is the second biggest market to the US. I get what you're doing, but if that's the reasoning why, I truly, truly cannot take it that way. I mean, you can argue, oh, the Ancient One can be any person or any physical form, but ultimately the way it reads to me is, oh, we did this because we want to make money in China, which is not very commendable, at least from an artistic point of view. The director of this movie has addressed this before, the casting of Tilda Swinton, and he described it as a bit of a Kobayashi Maru situation, which is, you may remember from Star Trek, being the unwinnable scenario. You are going to lose this, it's just your choice of how you can lose. However, you can win if you're Captain Kirk, and I think perhaps this is how I took this movie, which is I was expecting it to be a Captain Kirk delivery, and it ultimately was Starfleet captain level, very good, just not at my probably unfair expectations, which were very high. I do think very highly of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think they've produced a lot of good films, a lot of great films. I don't think this is among the best. However, it's pretty good. Audience, I know you disagree with me. I know some of you are real mad right now, but that's how I feel, and I stand by it. Please let me know how you feel below in the comments, and please like and subscribe for more.